Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to quickly show you how we can add page color and also insert a page border and how to insert a watermark inside of Microsoft Word. So let's get started. Firstly, in order to find these options, you will need to enter into the Design tab of Microsoft Word. And within the Design tab, you will find something called as a page background. And this is where you're going to find the three options of watermark, page color, and page borders. So firstly, page color is something where the entire color of your page is going to change. So in order to understand these topics, I've already placed it some content over here and kept it ready. So let's just say that I want to change the page color. Then I can click on the drop down next to the page color and I can choose the color I want. If I feel like white is not nice and I kind of want to change the entire color itself, then I can choose these colors from here. I can choose the colors from whatever is over here, or I can also click on more colors and find more options of colors either within standard or custom and make a selection as per my choice and change the background color of all my pages in this manner. Now the next thing we'll see is how to insert a watermark inside of Microsoft Word. A watermark is basically a word or a phrase that is present at the back of your page, and it's usually used to represent that a document is confidential or that it belongs to a certain person and nobody else can use it. So usually for copyright purposes and things like that. So you'll find that over here inside watermark, and if you click on the drop down, you'll see that there are a lot of predefined built-in options which says confidential or do not copy, and some of them are diagonal or horizontal, or some of them say draft and ASAP and sample, etc. So you can make use of these from the predefined options and you can select it, and this is what it will appear like. However, if there's a specific word that you want to display and you don't want it to be any of the predefined options, then there's also a way where you can customize your watermark by coming into the custom watermark option. And let's say I don't like confidential and I want to put my channel name as the background of this document, then I can just go ahead and remove this watermark and I can go ahead and customize my watermark as well. Once you click on custom watermark, a dialog box like this will appear, and within this dialog box you will notice that there are three options. One is either you don't want any watermark, no watermark, or there's a picture watermark or text watermark. So you can decide whether you want a picture to be present as your watermark or a text. Now let's just say that I want a text to be present and I want to type the text myself. If I click on the drop down, there are some predefined words over here, but if it's something that is not there over here, for example, it's my channel's name. So I'm just going to go type that over here and I'll be able to customize it to my choice. And here in the same way, I can click on the font and select a font style if I don't like it. I can also select the size that I want, and I can select the color of my watermark as well from here. And semi-transparent is usually what is used for a watermark because we don't want it to be very bold and it shouldn't be present as the main content of the document. It should be semi-transparent so that it feels like the background of the page, but also it acts as a copyright. So usually we keep the semi-transparent option ticked, and you will also get an option of whether you want it to be horizontally displayed or diagonal. I would like it to be diagonal, so I click on OK, and I can either click on OK and directly apply it, or I can just apply it and see what it looks like. If I like it, I can click on OK, otherwise I can modify it further. I do like it, so I'm just going to go ahead and close it. So in this manner you can customize your watermark for text. And if you're looking to probably insert an image as a watermark, maybe a company logo or something like that, then you can again go back to custom watermark and you can also insert a picture watermark instead of a text. So you can go ahead and select a picture, and you can select this picture either from a file that is present on your local desktop, or you can also search for an image. If it's your company logo, you can save it over here somewhere and then browse that image and then use that. But I don't have any logo at the moment, so I'm just going to search something. For example, I'll just search for a YouTube icon, and you can just click on search and click on enter and you'll find some of these logos. So I can just select it and insert, and once I insert it, it's going to take a second to load, and I want it to appear like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply it, and we do need to know that we can only apply one watermark at a time, it cannot be two. So the text has gone away and it has become an image watermark right now. And also a watermark is something that appears on every page of your document. So when I apply it on any one certain page, it is going to go and be applied to every page of my document in this manner. Now one other interesting feature that we can think about over here is, let's say for example my main content starts from page number 2 and my page number 1 is just the table of contents part of of it, and let's say I don't want a watermark to be displayed on my table of contents and I want it to start from, let's just say, page number 2. So is it possible to apply a different watermark for different pages, or also to kind of remove the watermark from some pages and apply it to some pages of your Word document? The answer is yes. So how do we do this is what we're going to see right now. So in order to do this, we need to understand the concept of section breaks, and we need to insert a section break into our Word document. Let's just say, for my example, I don't want it to be present on my table of contents page. So what I need to do is I need to try to convey to Word and make Word understand that this part of my document, page 1 of my document, is one section, and page 2 onwards is a second section of my document. So for Microsoft Word to understand that, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and insert a section break. For those of you who have not watched my previous videos, I have already explained how to insert section breaks in those videos. You can find a link to that video in the description below. You can go and watch that. We can just quickly insert a section break right now for our understanding once again. So to insert a section break, I'll have to place my cursor at the end of the section. So if I think that this part is section 1 and this is section 2, so wherever I want my section 1 to end, I will place my cursor over there and I will go into the layout tab. Within the layout tab, I'll click on the breaks drop down, and here I'll see something called as next page or continuous and so on. I'm going to choose next page because I want my new section, which is section 2, to start on a next page, and I want wherever I've placed my cursor to be the end of section 1 and the next section to begin on the next page. If I want the next section to be continuing on the same page, then I can click on continuous, but for my use case I'm going to select on next page. So it means that wherever I've placed my cursor and I have inserted a section break, that becomes the end of section 1, and section 2 is going to start from the next page onwards. And in order to verify where you have inserted the section break, because it's usually not going to be visible to your naked eye, you will have to go into the home tab and turn on this Pilcrow button over here. Once you turn it on, you will see that the P represents the end of every paragraph, and wherever you have inserted a section break, you will see it marked as a section break. So this basically means that this is the end of section 1 and this has become section 2 right now. So I've been able to split my document. That is step 1. Now the next step, before we go ahead and remove the watermark for this page and keep the watermark for the remaining pages, is to go into the header. To go into the header of this page, you can just double click on the top and it is going to open up a header and footer tab over here for you. And what you will notice is that the header is going to be basically different for the section 1 and section 2. And I have made a complete detailed video on how to insert headers and footers and how to insert a different header and footer for two different sections of your Word document, and you can go ahead and watch that video. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. But you will notice that the header is now going to be different for section 1 and section 2. That's what you can read over here. But there's something which says same as previous. What this basically means is that there is a navigation tab inside of your header and footer wherein there is something called as link to previous. Now the link to previous option is turned on over here, which is the reason why the header for page 1 and header for page 2 have been linked to each other, which means that if you turn on the link to previous, it allows you to continue using the same header for the section 1 as well as section 2. So even if you have broken the document into sections and if you have linked the headers of these sections, it means that you're going to continue using the same header that you have used in section 1 into section 2 as well. But if I don't want that to happen, I need to go ahead and turn off the link to previous. Now when I turn it off, what happens is the header for section 2 is going to be different and the header for section 1 is going to be different completely. And I have not linked it, so it's not going to go ahead and use the same header for the two sections. Now that I have turned off the linking option for the two headers, what I'm going to do is go back into the design tab and just remove the watermark. I'll have to reinsert the watermark right now. So let's just say that I'm going to reinsert the watermark over here. What is going to happen is that the watermark has appeared only in the first section of the document because I have split it into two sections. And what is going to happen is if I don't want it to be present in this section and I want it to be present in section 2, I can just remove this over here and place my cursor from wherever section 2 begins and insert a watermark over there. So now you will notice that the section 2 of my document is going to consist of the watermark, but section 1 will not be able to consist of it. And there are basically two methods of doing this, and right now we'll go ahead and see the second way of doing it. And now that we have turned off the link to previous option, you will notice that it is not linked anymore, and I can have a separate watermark for each page individually. Now how can I do that is, now I don't want it to be present in page 1, but I also know that page 1 is one section of my document and page 2 onwards is another section 2 of my document, and in that same manner I've broken it into section 1 and section 2. So I can go ahead and now go delete the watermark that is present on page 1 because I've broken it into sections, and I have also removed a link to previous. So if you can just see right now, I'm going to be able to double click on this watermark that is present over here, and in order to be able to double click on the watermark, I will need to either click on the header or the footer first, and when I come near the watermark, you will notice that the cursor changes into this diamond shape thing, and I can go ahead and make a selection of my watermark right now, and you will notice that the watermark has been selected. Now I can just go ahead and click the delete button on my keyboard, and you will notice that the watermark has been deleted, but it has only been deleted for section 1 because I have broken my document into sections. So I've been able to use the watermark for the remaining parts of the document, and I have been able to remove it for section 1 alone. So in this manner, you can go ahead and split your document into sections to be able to use the watermark for some sections and not use the watermark for some sections. All you have to do is, firstly, you will have to break your document into sections by going into the layout tab, inserting a section break wherever you want to split it into a new section, and once you have inserted the section breaks, you will have to click on the header and double click on the header, and you will have to turn off the link to previous if at all it is turned on. And because the header and footer of the two sections are not linked to each other anymore, I can select my watermark that is present in one of the section and delete it directly, or remove all the inserted watermarks and insert watermarks in the specific sections alone. And now that we've seen how to use the watermarks and also use a different watermark for different pages, we will also go ahead and lastly see the page borders. So you can insert a border to each of your pages by clicking on the page borders part of it, and you will notice that there's a dialog box that opens up, and these are the different styles of page boxes that you can have. Either it's like a box or a shadow or a 3D structure or a custom made structure. So I would like a box, and over here you can choose the kind of line that you want to use for your borders, and it could be a dotted line or a single line. I want a single line, and the color also you can choose. Since my page is right now black in color, I would like to insert a white color border, otherwise it will not be seen. And you can also choose the thickness over here. I'll probably go ahead and increase a little bit, and there is also some artistic styles that you can go ahead and use if you want to, so you can pick any of these for your border as well if you feel like. And once you do that, you can also select whether you want to apply it to the whole document, the border, or you want to apply it only to the specific section. Now that we've already broken our document into sections, you can also choose to insert a page border only for this specific section if you wish to. For example, I'll click on OK and insert it, so it gets inserted only for my section 1, which is my initial section over here, and not for the others. However, if I do want to go ahead and insert it to the whole document, then I can go and do that as well, and change this to whole document and click on OK. Then it will get inserted to the whole document. So in this manner, you can insert your page color, watermark and page borders, and also break your document into different sections so that you can apply a different watermark for different sections of your document, and also different page borders for different sections of your document if you wish to. So do give this a try and let me know how it works. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the comment section, and I'll definitely try and help you out. Until then, thank you so much everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.